To our welcome event for the Science Without Borders program students. It is called Brazil Scientific Mobility Program. And we are so pleased to have 19 of these students on our campus for, we hope, 18 months. So this is their first semester here. I've sent all of you information about them, and we are so pleased to be cooperating with the government of Brazil. And before I start, I just want to tell you a little story about myself. I have a personal connection to Brazil. I am one of the African Americans who is fortunate enough to know my roots. In the 1700s, Portuguese slave ship went to Angola and got my 5 generations back grandmother and took her to Brazil, where she was in Bahia. She was sold as a slave, and then she was sold again to go from Bahia to Charleston, South Carolina, which is why I'm here in America, but we had a middle passage from Africa to Brazil to America, and that's why I'm here, and I feel an affinity for Brazil always because of that. So, that said, I would like now to introduce Bruce Silner, who is going to give you an introduction and some background about this program and our relationship with Brazil.
Thank you very much, Connie. Bom dia. Welcome. It's good to have all of you here. Let me extend a particular welcome to Director Menino, who has come to us on a busy schedule and is visiting us from the Brazilian consulate in New York City. We're going to be hearing from him very shortly. I'd also like to welcome my friend and colleague, Sally Crimmins Villela, who is here representing the Office of Global Affairs at the SUNY System Administration. And hearing from her a little bit later on is going to be a treat for you, I'm sure. President Christian and Provost Malcheri, our chief officers here at SUNY New Paltz, have also joined us today to welcome you to campus, as have various SUNY New Paltz faculty, staff, and our own students. So it's a great pleasure for me to welcome to SUNY New Paltz our Brazilian Science Mobility Program students, but I really like the other name better. I like the Science Without Borders name better, so I think that's what we'll use. But we're very, very proud here at New Paltz to be participating in 2 tremendously important initiatives. That is President Dilma Rousseff's Science Without Borders program and President Obama's 100,000 Strong in the Americas. But as an international educator, I'll tell you we're really, as an American international educator, I'll tell you we're very jealous of you, the Brazilians, because your government has had the foresight to put money behind scholarships for 100,000 of you to come and study abroad. Here we have to fight our government for every nickel and dime on very similar types of opportunities. So I really applaud President Dilma for her initiative. We're delighted to have you here on campus this academic year, first learning English and American culture in our Haggerty English Language program, where you're certainly served by an excellent faculty and staff, and then by participating in academic coursework offered by our School of Science Engineering and represented here by various faculty today. You're among over 6,000 Brazilian scholarship students studying at 346 institutions in the United States. And we're very, very pleased that SUNY New Paltz is one of them. But I want to tell you, New Paltz has had a long and extensive engagement with higher education in Brazil. Almost 15 years ago, after receiving a grant from the U.S. Department of Education to expand our Latin American Studies program to include courses related to Brazil, we began looking for a partner in Brazil. And I had the good fortune to be sent on this mission to Brazil to find a suitable academic partner. It took quite a bit of work, but on my last day, I visited the campus of PUC Rio. and we began what has been a very, very strong academic relationship. We've been engaged in a great deal of student and staff exchange. And indeed, students from leading institutions throughout the United States, Princeton, Yale, Berkeley, study on our program at Puki Rio. Similarly, we've had the good fortune to educate a good number of Puki Rio staff who have come here to learn English and American culture as you're doing. And it got to the point where the staff in the international office of Puki Rio began to refer to their institution as SUNY Rio. I kid you not. We've been recognized for this partnership by the U.S. Embassy in Brazil and by Education USA. In fact, just shortly after you came here to New Paltz, I was on a plane to Rio because I was invited to participate in a workshop for Brazilian universities on how to partner with American universities. 39 Brazilian universities were represented there. SUNY New Paltz was the only American university. So it was really very, very gratifying to be able to engage with international educators in Brazil on how to develop a successful program. Our work doesn't stop there. Right now we're working on a very exciting program, and I'm going to ask for some help from you to help us execute this program. We've received funding from Banco Santander, the Spanish bank, to help educate our students in our School of Business about business practices in other parts of the world, specifically in countries where the Banco Santander has a presence. And one of those, of course, is Brazil. So this summer, probably about 15 to 20 of our students will have scholarships to go and study business practices in Rio de Janeiro. I'd like you to talk to them, to tell them about what to expect in Brazil, and to tell them what you know about Brazilian business practices. But there's an extra bonus for these students, because at the end of the program, they'll be able to attend World Cup games. And again, I congratulate you on being able to attract the World Cup to Brazil. In my most recent travels to Brazil, we've worked on another very, very interesting initiative. And again, we want to educate our students so they better understand Latin America, Brazil. Many speak Spanish, and we're going to make it possible for them to learn Portuguese. And we're engaged with Montana State University and our partner in Rio de Janeiro, Puki Rio, to deliver via distance learning Portuguese as a foreign language classes here at New Paltz, on other campuses in the SUNY system, and throughout the United States. And the instruction will originate. The faculty member will be in Rio de Janeiro, but the students will be here at New Paltz and indeed throughout the United States. So we're very excited about that. Similarly, this summer, we had the good fortune to host 220 Latin American students of business from the International Business School of Sao Paulo. Probably about 180 of them were Brazilian, so it was a real Brazilian flavor here in New Paltz this summer. But while you're here on campus, I really would urge you to help educate our students and our faculty. Help them learn more about Brazil, about your country and your culture. We greatly admire a society that so highly values international education. And we urge you to do what you can to integrate into society and campus life here at New Paltz, patronize our local businesses, get to know the students, remember that you're ambassadors, you're representing your country. So, with no further ado, I think I'd like to move on by introducing our president, President Donald Christian. And he's very delighted that you're here today. And he himself comes from the STEM field. And I think he's going to tell you a little bit about the value of international experience for STEM students. Don?
Thank you, Bruce. Good afternoon, everyone. Is this on? You can hear me okay. I'm really happy to join in welcoming everybody to this afternoon's reception and to celebrate this great partnership between SUNY New Paltz and the Brazil Scientific Mobility Program. I had an opportunity to greet many of you students on the first day of the semester, but I know many of you had arrived just hours before that, and I think either hadn't been asleep or weren't quite awake. So I'm happy to welcome you again here to SUNY New Paltz, and I hope that your semester is going well. Sally, it's always great to have SUNY colleagues here, and we greatly appreciate the collaboration for our international programs that we get from your office. Bruce, we're ever grateful for the tremendous work that you do and your staff does in elevating the international programs of SUNY New Paltz, both serving U.S. students who study abroad and bringing students like all of you here today to our campus. I'm delighted also to welcome Federico Menino from the Consulate General of Brazil in New York City. We're glad that you're here today to join in this celebration as well, and welcome you to New Paltz also. At SUNY New Paltz, our enrollments in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, STEM disciplines, have over the last 5 years grown by 83%, number of majors in those fields. And I know because I just checked that for another presentation I'm doing later on today. So there's a lot of excitement around STEM disciplines here at New Paltz, and we're very pleased that so many students from Brazil are able to share the excitement of that growth in our programs. As Bruce alluded to, I was a biology professor for many years before I became an administrator, and I had opportunities to collaborate in scientific research, in education, and exchange with colleagues from other countries that included Finland, Russia, Sweden, Namibia, just down the border on the Atlantic coast from Angola, and also South Africa. And I know how much my experience was enriched by the opportunity to learn about different approaches and issues and environments from scientists in other countries. And I'm excited that our participation in this program creates similar opportunities both for U.S. students who you'll interact with and for you studying with other students here in the U.S. Much of the best science being done around the world today involves international collaboration, and programs like this will undoubtedly help prepare future scientists who are better equipped to deal with complex challenges and opportunities that all of you will begin to address and that our world certainly faces. So I again welcome everyone to New Paltz. Wish our Brazilian students every success in all of your academic endeavors here. Thank you.
All right, and next I'd like to invite our Provost and Chief Academic Officer, our Vice President for Academic Affairs, Phil Malcheri. Now, Phil is going to tell you a little bit about what an international experience in Latin America meant to him and what career that launched him on. So, anyway, thank you, Phil.
Benvenido à Universidade Estatal de Nova York em New Paltz. Estamos muito felizes em ter todos vocês aqui hoje conosco. Esperamos que hoje é o começo de relacionamento longo e profundo entre as nossas instituições e países. We're delighted to welcome 19 Brazilian students who are participating in a Science Without Borders study and internship program here in the United States, and are part of more than 200 Brazilian students at 13 SUNY campuses this year. Bruce alluded to my background. I'm a Latin Americanist by training. Started out as a political scientist thinking I was going to go to law school, took a class in Latin America, became absolutely fascinated with it. Spent a lot of time in my early career in Latin America, but I'm an Andeanist, which means my areas are Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, kind of the countries surrounding Brazil, but not quite Brazil. Though many of my friends studied Brazil and always says you have to come here. And if you look at a map, it looks close, but we have to go through from the Andean countries, usually across the Amazonian region to get into the heart of Brazil. So I never quite made it there, but it's still on my bucket list, as they say, to eventually do that. But I think it's tremendously important for us to engage in these exchanges And part of that and the value of having you here is, I think, to get a really good sense, aside from the great education in the sciences, technology, engineering, and math, the STEM, the famous STEM fields, but also the sort of the cultural aspects and the points of view. And I know many of you will be studying language. And I always emphasize the importance of language. I grew up knowing some Italian, learned French, and then picked up Spanish as along the way. And I'm still working on my Portuguese, as you can tell. But I think one of the things that language gives you is an insight into culture. And so I think as you begin to speak here and engage in the SL program and to speak with the other students and talk with the faculty on campus, it will also give you an insight into some of the culture of the United States that will carry over into really the rest of your educational experiences. I think all of us involved in higher education should applaud the major investments in education that Brazil is making to its own people. And I reiterate Bruce's congratulations to the government of Brazil and especially to your president for doing this, and very much wish we had the sort of leadership here in this country that was exercising the investment in education that this in fact represents. I think the STEM fields in particular are key to the social and economic development of countries in the 21st century. And I know Brazil has a very long history of a focus on moving the economic development of the country and taking it to the next level. And so I will expect that all of you, as you return to Brazil, will help move the country in a development, in the next phases of development. That's been the history of Brazil till now. I sort of see you, this group here, and your cohorts at other institutions in taking Brazil into a much higher level as well. SUNY New Paltz is proud to participate in the Science Without Borders program. We pride ourselves on the hands-on opportunities that we afford students. So in the classroom, it will not only be, and in fact mostly won't be just listening to someone speaking, but you're participating in the experiments, in the laboratories, in the what we call here the high impact learning experiences that you'll get to be participating in. We provide, I think, the sort of range of subjects and approaches that you'd find at large universities, while also providing exceptionalized, personalized instruction that you'd find at smaller liberal arts colleges here in the United States. I think you'll find a New Paltz with a dedicated and professional faculty, rigorous academic programs, and the support for you to succeed and thrive, both while you're here as well as when you return to Brazil. So with that, let me thank you all for being here today, and I look forward to meeting each of you as the day progresses. Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. As you may or may not know, the State University of New York is the largest comprehensive system of public higher education in the world. There are 64 campuses throughout the state of New York, enrolling, I believe, over 400,000 students. There's one person in the central administration of the SUNY System Administration that has worked tirelessly to forge bonds with Brazil. She has her personal bonds with Brazil, and she'll tell you a little bit about those. She too has been transformed by an experience in your wonderful country. Sally Karimmans-Villela is our Associate Vice Chancellor for International Programs or Global Affairs, and she has been our key liaison with copies and with the Institute for International Education to make sure that students from the Brazil Science Without Borders programs were able to avail themselves of the benefits of study on a State University of New York campus. So I'd like Sally to come up and grace us with a few words.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, Bruce. Bem-vindos! Eu estou tão feliz de ter todos vocês aqui. É uma grande honra para a gente receber vocês aqui no Paltz e para mim é uma grande honra estar recebendo 225 estudantes das Ciências Sem Fronteiras em 13 campi da SUNY este semestre para o ensino de inglês. E para mim um momento, tem sido um objetivo pessoal para mim, trazer um grande número de brasileiros aqui para a SUNY. Então, vocês são a demonstração que isso já está acontecendo, o futuro já chegou. So, allow me to translate. I just wanted to welcome our wonderful 19 Brazilian students who are gracing us with their presence here this semester, and to say how happy this makes me personally, because this has really been a personal objective of mine, and one that Bruce and I have worked hard on together, to bring a large number of Brazilian students here to the State University of New York. My other objective is to bring a large number of students here from SUNY, get them to go to Brazil. So the more that we can visit one another, learn from one another, learn one another's languages, and be educated together, the better it will be for all of us. And the other thing that I said is that seeing them here today is an emotional moment for me, because it becomes very real that this thing that we've worked on for so long has come to pass. There's an expression, I've been going to Brazil for many years, starting in 1986. That was my first trip to Brazil. And when I first went there, it was to teach English to faculty members at the University of Rio Grande do Norte, Universidade Federal do Rio Grande do Norte, in Natal. So I was the English teacher, and that's how I began my time in Brazil. From the time that I first went to Brazil, I always heard the expression, "O Brasil é o país do futuro." Brazil is the country of the future. That was said so many times that Brazilians who love to make jokes out of things. It's true, right? Nicknames and jokes are one of their specialties. It became a joke. Brazil is the country of the future, but the future never comes. And I think that what we're living right now, the future has arrived. And you're the future. This is it. It's a very exciting time. You have a president who is devoting serious resources to sending students all over the world to learn in the STEM fields, to do practical work experiences, to learn other languages. This is going to make a tremendous difference in your country. I am so proud to call myself an almost Brazilian. I don't actually have a passport, but I do have an RNE, Registro Nacional de Estrangeiros. It's the Brazilian equivalent of a green card. I have a pink card. So I am among those who will stand here and applaud Gilma Rousseff for her work and her dedication to sending all of these students abroad, and to even laying out the challenge for the private sector in Brazil to say, our government will fund this many, we would like you to fund that many. That's a wonderful thing that she's done, and would that we could all learn from that example. So I won't go on any longer because everybody stole my good lines. But I'm really, really happy to be here with you today, and I hope to meet each and every one of you before we leave. Por favor, venham falar comigo antes do evento de hoje terminar, porque eu gostaria de conhecer cada um de vocês. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wonderful remarks. Those were wonderful for our students. I could see them smiling at the warm remarks. I'd like to acknowledge our guests. As you can see that we have tables here. We have a graphic design table, chemistry and engineering table, two of those, computer engineering, physics, and mathematics table, and electrical engineering table. And I would like to thank the faculty and staff who have come to help us to welcome these students and get to know them. And now I'm going to change the program just a little bit because we have a guest speaker who has to be at the Newark airport at a certain time, so I'm going to move him forward. He's last on the list, but we're just so honored that we have the coordinator of the Department of Educational Cooperation from the Consulate General of Brazil in New York here. And I would like to call upon Sandra Coleman, our Brazilian student assistant, to introduce Mr. Menino.
Hi everyone, I'm so happy to see everyone to drink Guaraná because now you know Guaraná is better than Coca-Cola. Okay, Frederico Menino, he was born in São Paulo and he's not Corinthians, he's Palmeirense, green Palmeirense, and he is assistant coordinator to the Department of Educational Cooperation in Brazilian Consulate in New York City. His master's degree is in political science, and now he's working his PhD in sociology in the New School in New York City. Yes, and also he works with the PUC in Brazil, PUC São Paulo, USP, in some university in England. I'm sorry, I cannot to say the name. And in Harvard University in Massachusetts. Okay, it's my pleasure for you to introduce Mr. Frederico Menino.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you all. I was definitely not expecting that honorable presentation. I don't deserve all this applause. And first of all, I'd like to thank Director, Mr. Provost, Bruce, and just to see this organization. People made even the effort of making brigadeiros, docinhos, feijoada. This means a lot, not only for the students, especially for the students, but for us in the consulate, working in this, the newest of all the sectors in the consulate. It was established in May last year, the Department of Educational Cooperation. And well, I'm really glad that you all promote this, and I'm very glad with the invitation. I'll try to be brief, not only because I have to go to my days are not always that busy, but today happens to be a very busy day, and I'll have to leave a bit early, unfortunately. But I would like to just talk a little bit about the department and the consulate, our role to greet the students. You mentioned the program, Brazilian Scientific Mobility Program, that because of some naming issues has been translated this way. I also don't like this name, and I don't like Science Without Borders either. I think we should all learn how to say Ciência Sem Fronteiras because it sounds better. It is, as Bruce mentioned, a very ambitious program. It was created in the end of 2011 with many ambitious goals, and part of this ambition is not only the government supporting scholarships that are in very different modalities, undergraduate students, graduate students, postdoc students, in very different areas of STEM fields. But it is also ambition given the record and the history of Brazilian policies in higher education. It is the largest program of academic mobility Brazil has ever implemented, and it has many short-term and long-term goals. To mention a few, the short-term goal is to try and revert a deficit in the areas of engineering, professional deficit, or academic and specialized training in many fields where Brazil is falling very behind for the size of the country and the growing economic importance of the country. But there are also some midterms and long-term goals that I find more important. My whole trajectory was not in the diplomatic world. I'm only now and for the last year working with the Brazilian Foreign Ministry. But before, I've always been a researcher and begun my career as a scholar in the University of São Paulo. And one thing I always found challenging, I guess many students from Brazil can attest to the fact, is how the Brazilian academic world is very endogenous. It writes to itself, it communicates to itself, and a lot of what is produced in Brazil is still very hierarchical. You still have to respond to the chiefs and leaders of departments and all that. So one of the main goals of this program in the mid and short term and in the long term, I guess, is to internationalize and to modernize the Brazilian academic system. This with, of course, training what is going to be crucial to any country, including developed countries, which is to train a global generation of global scientists and scholars and researchers, right? That happen to be born in Brazil, they could be born in the U.S. But I think this contributing to a global dialogue on science and education is part of what this program wants to do. Given that, as part of the efforts, the Consulate in New York created the Department of Educational Cooperation. Similar departments were created in other consulates in the U.S., in the embassy in Washington, in other countries in Europe and Asia. And the department in New York takes care specifically of students and researchers in the region of New York, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. The United States is the largest recipient of Ciências Sem Fronteiras students. We're very glad with that. And the region of New York, the region represented by the Consulate of New York, is now the second largest recipient. And the network of SUNY Campi is by far the largest recipient of Brazilian scientific mobility students in this region. So once again, thank you all for that. It's a great achievement, and we have you as a very, very important partner in this program. To talk about a few of the activities that the Consulate has been conducting, we promote the student meeting, the regional meeting every semester. We're having the next one in November, 8th of November at the headquarters of IIE, Institute of International Education. That's where the last one happened. We also have produced at the beginning of the year a manual in Portuguese for Ciências Sem Fronteiras students. So, por favor, os estudantes brasileiros que estão aqui, tem manual, eu trouxe, tá passando. Então tem os manuais que são muito úteis sobre serviços consulares e, enfim, serviços que o consulado presta para os estudantes. And also we have been working as a focal point for institutions in the region to enhance the ties with Brazil. So, of course, part of the program is also to attract a larger number of scientists, scholars, professors in all fields, not only in the STEM fields, to go work in Brazil and to find partnerships in Brazil. And we work in very close collaboration with CAPES, CNPq, the Institute of International Education, LASPAL, and other organizations to exactly improve this communication. So feel free, I'll distribute cards, and feel free to bother me, please. Enfim, I have many other things to say that I could say, but I think everybody should be hungry and interested in better things. Mas para os estudantes, principalmente, lá no Conselho Português, eu acho, enfim, em nome do consulado, mas sobretudo minha história pessoal, eu acho que esse programa é um programa fundamental e o papel que vocês estão fazendo aqui, assumindo não só essa bolsa, mas esse período de estudos, eu, quando tive essa oportunidade há 10 anos atrás, isso mudou minha vida em todos os sentidos. Conheci minha mulher, que é estrangeira, vim para cá, e essa foi a coisa mais importante que eu fiz quando eu vim. Mas não só por isso, eu acho que vocês têm um papel fundamental. Aproveitem, abracem essa oportunidade, e o consulado está à disposição, né? Esse setor não existia antes, então façam, aproveitem mesmo essa oportunidade. Tudo que eu tenho a dizer, vocês estão numa instituição de ponta e muito importante, um lugar excelente, certo? Falei do manual, meu contato também. E quem está recebendo meus e-mails, eu quero o e-mail de todo mundo numa folha, porque tem que receber meus e-mails. Sorry about that. I will not translate. It was a very personal message. Talk about my wife. That was not in the business. But anyways, I'm very, very thankful, and on behalf of the consulate and on behalf of our consul general, I really thank the opportunity. And this is a beautiful event you guys organize here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Menino. This is a great pleasure and honor for us to have you in our presence today. And I know that you may want to sneak out a little later, but I hope you have a chance to have some feijoada. We're going to go quickly through the rest of the program, and I would like the students, the Brazilian Scientific Mobility students in levels 3 and 4 to come forward. Levels 3 and 4. Then we have 7 students. Come forward. 7 students who will be ready. They're at the highest levels of our program, and they will be ready to take courses full-time in the spring. So I have asked each one of them to prepare a short self-introduction. And we may start with the president of their group. The gentleman, sorry.
Hi, my name is Djalma. I'm from Aracaju. My major is chemical engineering, and my university is Federal University of Sergipe. I'm so glad with this opportunity. I hope to improve my English here and to know new technologies that I know that it will contribute with my major. I want to know more about the American culture and the culture of New Paltz, that I know that this town has a good history and it's amazing history. Because this, it's a pleasure for me to study here in the SUNY New Paltz. Thank you.
Hey everyone, meu nome é Enan. I'm from south of Brazil. And my major is chemical engineering. Firstly, I'm here in New Paltz to improve my English, and after that I hope know more about how chemical engineers work here, what kind of technology is available here, and what I like so far of New Paltz is the beautiful views and the hospitality of the people. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Damari Tezende. I am from Belém, a city in the north of Brazil. My major is computer engineering, and I'm here to improve my English and learn about computer and technology. And here in Paltz, I like to learn about Brazil and the reception. You are so glad, and I'm so proud to be here. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Robian. I'm from Mato Grosso, which is in the center of Brazil. My major is physics engineering, and I would like to learn more about the science and the physics. But I really want to improve my English and learn about the American culture too. Since I arrived, I have enjoyed the campus and a lot of things that I can do here. I think the classes are very good too, and I think New Paltz is amazing. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Ana. I'm here to study English and also chemical engineering, which is my major. I am from the south of Brazil, Paraná, and so far I'm liking ESL because it has a lot of events, interactive events, where I can meet a lot of new people. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Renan. I'm from Recife in the northeast of Brazil. My major is chemical engineering. I'm so glad to be here, and I think SUNY New Paltz structure is so amazing. I'm really impressed with this structure, and I will work hard here to improve my English, learn about my major, and New Paltz can teach me many things which will be good for my development. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Maíra. I'm from Curitiba, a city in the south of Brazil, and my major is graphic design. I'm here not only to learn English, but also to learn a new culture, mainly the academic culture, because it's very different from our country. And And also, it's the first time I leave Brazil, so it's very different to me, but I'm very delighted to be here. I'm really enjoying the campus, the network, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you, students. You did a great job. Now I would like to have the students in levels 1 and 2 to come forward. Levels 1 and 2. We have 12 remaining students who are going to continue in English next semester.
Hi, my name is Selton. I'm from Brazil. My state is Pernambuco and Recife. I love New Paltz. This is great experience for me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Natália. I'm from Jundiaí, São Paulo. And my major is chemical engineering. And I like learning about a new culture. so yes.
Hello, my name is Yuri. I'm from Natal, Rio Grande do Norte. If you translate, it's Christmas in English, but not translate, it's Natal. My major is chemical engineering too, and I'm very happy because here I can learn not only English, but Japanese, Chinese, and other languages. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Antonio and I'm from Teresina, Piauí. My major is mathematics and I want to learn more about the American culture. It's very, very interesting. So, thank you.
Hi, I am John Luiz and I am from Cachoeirinha, Porto Alegre, Rio Grande do Sul. My major is graphic design in Universidade Luterana do Brasil, UBRA. And I am here to improve my skills and oh my God. and make I want to make a difference when I go back to Brazil.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nathalie. I'm from Rio de Janeiro. I study chemical engineering at the Universidade Federal Rural do Rio de Janeiro. And I'm so glad because the Brazilian government is giving me this opportunity to study here. And thank you so much for your hospitality. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Thiago. I'm from Barretos, São Paulo. My major is graphic design. I'm in love with this university.
Good afternoon, my name is Leonardo. I am from Macapá, north of Brazil. My major is electrical engineering, and I hope have here in SUNY New Paltz a great experience and learn a little more about American engineering and technology.
Hi, I'm Gracie. I am from Salvador, Bahia. I am my major is electrical engineer, and thank you for this opportunity.
Hello, I am Sofia Coelho. I come from Belo Horizonte, Minas Gerais. My major is graphic design. I'm happy to be here, and I want to say thank you for sending me your books.
Good afternoon.
I'm Alexander, call me Alex Corinthians. I study electrical engineering. I'm from north of Brazil, Palma City, state Tocantins. I'm so happy to stay here. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Guilherme Farias. I'm from Santa Maria and my major is electrical engineering. And I would like to take this opportunity and say that I am so happy to study here. Thank you.
Obrigada, students. And now we have a few remarks from the president of the group, Djalma Oliveira.
Hello everyone. It's a pleasure for me to represent all of the Brazilian students that study here in the SUNY New Paltz. I would like to summarize my speech in only 3 words. Yeah, only 3. The first word is unbelievable. Yeah, but why? Because the life is unbelievable. Who would have imagined 1 year ago that now we would be here studying in the SUNY New Paltz, studying in the United States of America, making our dreams come true. Yeah, the life is unbelievable. And not only because the reception at the university was amazing. All the time, the staff is doing to make us comfortable here. Many times I need to pinch myself only to believe that I'm the USA. The other words are not only just words, but they form an expression, and the expression is thank you. But why? Because we have the pleasure to represent more than 200 millions of Brazilians. And we want to show for everyone that Brazil not only has beautiful beaches, soccer, and carnival, but also Brazil has science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So, and we are learning to speak English, we are learning to the American culture, we are building our professionalism, and we are learning to be adults without the presence of our family. Because this, in the future, I would have the pleasure to find the Dilma, the president of Brazil, the president Christian, the Jan Bruce, the provost Phillips, the director Connie, the Tia Sandra, the professor of ESL, the Mr. Federico, the Miss Alice. But why? Because all of you contributed in the process of help us become the competent engineers, the competent designers, the competent professors. So I don't know if you have this chance in the future, so I will say now, thank you, and thank you. And I can't forget, thank you, God.
Thank you. That was a wonderful speech. We learned a lot about your dreams, and we're glad that you're here. I'd like to right now change the program just a little bit around. The students, you've met each of them, and you may have noticed that you have on your name tags a Portuguese and American flag. The students have a Portuguese and American flags for themselves, and they also have one for each of you. So I would now like each Brazilian student to present the flag pin to a guest at the table.
Leva lá pro pai dela.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Does everybody I know that you all can smell the wonderful feijoada, collard greens, rice, etc. So what we're going to do now, we have a wonderful slide presentation made by Sophia and Yuri. We're going to start the slide presentation, and you can look at it as you eat and as you sit down, because in the interest of time, we need to move on. But we're going to see a slide presentation in the background as we eat. Also, I want to say thank you again to Mr. Menino, and it is thanks to the good graces of Sandra Coleman, who invited Mr. Menino, and we're just so happy that Sandra is our assistant, and she's doing a wonderful job. Sophia, would you come forward, Sophia and Yuri? Sophia and Yuri, come forward, please. And they will tell you about the slides you're going to see. Would you like to say something about them?
Yeah, okay.
And then we can start eating.
We made a short video with pictures from each state in Brazil. It's just enjoy.
Cantar-te nos meus versos, Brasil, samba, vida, loucura que faz gingar. Brasil, meu amor, terra de nosso Senhor. Brasil, Brasil, pra mim, abre a cortina do passado, tira a mãe preta do cerrado, bota o recuo no congado, deixa cantar de novo trovador, a melancolia luz da lua, toda a canção do meu amor. Ver essa dona caminhando, ver que sabes o seu vestido vendado. Brasil, 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 Brasil.
Can we keep that running while we're eating, Jenny? All right, and so I want to say to all of you now, we have feijoada, traditional feijoada with meat. We have vegetable feijoada, vegetarian feijoada, and we have collard greens, rice, orange slices, and then for dessert, we have pudim, which is like a flan, Brazilian flan, and we have brigadeiro with a little Brazilian flag. So in French we say bon appétit. What do we say in Portuguese?
Bom apetite.
Bon appétit.